I'm Bill Steele from Cowhorn Vineyard and Garden. Welcome today. This was an abandoned farm when we purchased it in 2002, and nothing had been done for about 18 years. So it took us about 2 years, 2.5 years just to clear the property of weeds, rocks, and a lot of miscellaneous metal parts. My wife and I both were finance people, and we had never been on a tractor before. We're the only certified biodynamic farm in Southern Oregon. I will tell you that the consumer acceptance has been huge. I think that folks really love the idea that there's clean food, clean grapes, biodynamic farming out here. People say, how did you get into biodynamic farming? And biodynamic farming kind of found us. We knew what kind of farming we would do. We were already living an organic, homeopathic lifestyle in Marin, California. So we began looking at biodynamics, and Barb went up to a group of biodynamic farmers in the Willamette, and she called me that night and she said, I found our friends. And she said, these people have our values, they revere the earth, they want to do what's right for their farm, they don't want to inundate it with synthetic chemicals. And so at that point, we began this biodynamic farming. Biodynamics in its basic form is a farming method that connects you consciously to the farm through observation. So you as the farmer have to know your soils, you have to know your property, you have to do the analysis so that you don't put the round peg in the square hole. Biodynamics is a natural, synthetic, chemical-free way of farming where you're trying to keep the property in balance naturally. It comes from treating each plant or each crop differently. In terms of biodiversity, besides the grapes, we also grow asparagus, artichokes, cherries, hazelnuts. This year we're layering in some annuals such as corn, watermelon, pumpkins, and squashes. So in biodynamics, one of the basic tenets is to use the assets that you have. So for example, the winery is wood from our property. The rocks here is what we use to line the pond. Why? Because obviously rock is a huge asset here. We are out here in the farm every day walking the rows, walking the asparagus, just saying, what's going on today? What's different today than last week? You know, tasting the grapes. Everything is grown on the property. I don't sell any grapes, nor do I buy any grapes. We actually use the yeast that are on the grapes to ferment them, native fermentation. And certainly the combination of all the different diverse products that we grow here should create a unique yeast profile. In the fall, when the harvest comes in, this is where we process the grapes. So we bring them in from the fields, put them in the tanks that are around here to the side. So in biodynamics, we don't have a lot of tools and we don't use any additives, but what we can do is keep the grapes really happy. We work really hard out in the vineyard. We keep them balanced, we keep them open, we water them. Then once they're in here, our primary tool is temperature control. So for example, whites like to ferment at 52 degrees and reds like to ferment at 66-ish. So the agreement is keep them happy out there, keep them happy in here, and they make good wine. The belief is that biodiversity adds a balance. The earth is biodiverse. So you in your backyard or me in my farm is a microcosm of the earth, and we're having biodiversity, and that creates a stronger system. It brings in a lot of beneficial bugs, a lot of beneficial organisms in the soil. This is a classic example of healthy, soil, and through biodynamic methods. I mean, this is just, you reach your hand into it. It's not compacted, it's aerated, but it's not pulverized into a sand, and it smells fresh. We also have perches out there. So one of the things that we have is a little bit of a gopher problem. And obviously being biodynamic, there's no poisons on the property. But what we can do is facilitate the predator to make it easier for them. So we've placed about 11 perches out there, always near either a block of food or a block of grapes. And what that's done is it made it a lot easier for the hawks to sit out there, and they just sit there and they're just staring until something moves. And it's a natural way of creating more balance in the property just by making it easier for the predators. These are artichoke plants. We are letting them go to seed in order to repopulate them, using the seed of the preferred plants. We have trusted seed sources, but the best seed source we could possibly have would be our own. And so for us, that we find these plants, we like that they're, look at the production is decent, the quality is really good, and so we are allowing these to go to seed, capture the seed, and then we'll plant them next year, and then we will have our own seed. So in biodynamics, you're trying to minimize your outside sources, and all of it plays into strengthening the immune system. Biodynamic farms, they're all about the immune system and strengthening it and being able to ward off disease pressures through planting the right type of soil, monitoring them, being in touch with the land, and all of that really works towards creating a healthy, complete immune system. To the consumer, the wine is in the bottle, grown on the plant, and it's that easy. But the reality, it's a little bit of controlled chaos.